Right, so here we are on the Gapminder site. Um, your assignment really here is just to play around a little bit, um, come up with ideas of how you think the world is related to certain things, and then play and see how that matches up. And then you'll put the final link in your spreadsheet. I'll show you that at the very end. Um, the thing that makes this interesting is there are five variables that we're working with. So a typical scatter plot just has two variables. It has the x-axis and the y-axis. But we have, in addition to the x and y-axis, we have color. Right now it's not showing uh, color. Let's do world regions. There we go. So here the color, each color represents a region of the world. And then we have the size of the bubble. So right now I have it set to population. The bigger the country, the bigger the bubble. And then there's year. You won't be actually adjusting the year. That's already built into the data set. So you're going to be able to choose four of the five variables. And I would just want you to go through this process a few times, and then once you get a final one, you can paste it into your spreadsheet. So let me give you an example. I would start with the y variable. I like to say the y is the WHY of the whole graph. It's what we typically care about most. And go down to wherever you want. You don't have to do it related to health. Health is I'm going to do that, but feel free to go anywhere you want there. And maybe I want to look at um, let's say something like nutrition and sugar per person. That sounds kind of interesting. So I'm going to do sugar per person. And then here I get to choose my x-axis. So this would be something that I think might be related to, might even be causing different values of sugar per person. We're not going to be able to show causation here, but something that I think I'm interested to see how sugar per person plays out here. Um, Maybe we go with environment. Um, yeah, okay. So material footprint, like how much, or sorry, per capita, how much energy I think essentially each person in the country is using, and how that connects to sugar. And before you actually press this, like try to think about what you think the relationship will be. In my mind, countries that use more energy, where people use more energy, are probably going to eat more sugar. So I think that I'm going to see an increasing trend. The higher we are on the X, our I don't know if this is exactly carbon footprint, um, but perhaps something like that. Um, so the more energy, the more sugar. That's my guess. Let's see how it plays out. Okay, it's pretty clustered over there, at least in 2005. I am going to keep the world regions. You could change this to anything. It doesn't need to be a geographic area. You could have the color based on GDP, like how much money in general each person is making in the country. Whatever you want for color. And then the size of the bubble is population right now. I could make that something else. I'm just going to keep that for simplicity's sake. I'm just going to keep that as population here for this first one. And then once you're ready, you hit play. And I don't know that I noticed too much going on there. I'm going to try it again. I guess one thing that caught my eye, I'm not sure if you can even see this, is there's some small countries that are really changing quite a bit. In other words, they're using a lot less energy. That's United Arab Emirates and Kuwait. As time goes, they have a much smaller material footprint. per capita. Okay, and you don't have to make any big and wonderful discoveries. I just want you to play around with the X, or sorry, the Y, the X, maybe the color a little bit, the size. Just try different things and eventually get a chart. Uh, Again, doesn't need to be anything grand or amazing, but up here, you're going to see this chain link. You're going to click on it. Whatever chart you've created will now be saved as a website. So there's going to be a link. You're going to not just press OK, you're going to have to Control C or Command C on a Mac, get that link saved. Then you'll come into your week 5 tab. You'll paste that website there. It's going to be really long. That's okay. Uh, and then you're going to insert a comment. So we're going to go to the insert comment button there. And I noticed that there's not a strong trend between energy, sugar consumption. I did notice that UAE lowered something like that. Again, doesn't need to be anything too crazy. I just want to see that you looked at the data, that you played with it, that you were able to figure out something when you see these bubbles moving all the place. And sometimes you may see a clear trend that's going up or going down, or maybe there's somewhat of a trend, but then you see this one country that's doing something very different. And so you hover over that and mention why. So I want you to also like put in a little bit of a why. So um, maybe even do some Googling. So why did the energy change in the 70s? And then maybe read about the oil crisis. And this may have I'm just doing this very quickly to show you an example, but you're trying to find something interesting, either a trend or an outlier, and then a reason why you think that might be the case. It's okay if I'm not going to check and see if I agree with why you're right or anything. I just want you thinking through these trends and results a little bit. You'll make sure you hit that comment button and you're done for the assignment.